All right, local swell trackers, it is Monday the 7th. We're rising as we speak thanks to these pair of storms right here. This is the first one that'll be pumping us up with a peak of 25 feet tonight from the north-northwest. Started out here about the at the date line and it's been tracking east. And so sending a lot of its energy up, well, portion of its energy off to our east. But you can see how close the fetch and the storm have gotten to us, got to within 1,000 miles. And so not much swell decay time due to that close proximity. So again, we are looking at a really big storm. And then this guy right behind it is tracking east-southeast and has a bit of a partially captured fetch, and it's going to be pumping us in thanks to this portion of the fetch on its southwest flank here. So a 1-2 punch here building. It's already 10, 12 feet as I speak here, midday Monday the 7th. Going to rise up to, well, we already have warnings posted in advance. It's going to reach near double the warning criteria, which is 25 feet crest to trough. I mean, some of these peaks are going to be crazy. So there you go. Right here is the culprit. Right here are the culprits for the 1-2 punch this week. There's a possibility we won't see this for the rest of the winter season. Okay, let's take a look at the surface winds here. This is going back over the weekend, Saturday the 5th. There's the storm when it was, again, just passing the date line with some, oh man, there were some seas of 35, 40 feet in this and some winds of, 40 to 50 knots. You can tell as it moved, it began here by Sunday to send a lot of its fetch off out of our swell window as it started centering in the Gulf. But take a look at that large gyra there. It's a big one, and it does get really close to us. Here's I continue on the animations. You can see, look at that, and definitely going to be sending some big waves off for Mavericks. And then here comes the second one right behind it, and here comes the second storm for Thursday, and that one again is going to be another 20+ foot swell. Let me get to the current animations. Okay, again, the surface winds. Here's the first storm. Here comes the second one starting in. The loops, that one has a nice captured fetch. Again, it begins towards the end of its journey to form a large spinner right in the Gulf, missing us off to our east in the latter stages of its track. But the first stages, that is going to build us up to 15-foot swells of open ocean and about 16 seconds in it, thanks to this second one. Now, there is a third right off the Kuril Islands, a nice long fetch. That one is expected to pull in some potential 12, maybe 15-foot surf mid-month, Monday the 14th. The Wave Watch 3 are claiming buoys of 9-foot swell at 16 seconds. So, again, if you take that open ocean swell at 16 seconds and you multiply it by 2.5, you are looking at some, 25-foot faces, which we would call about 15 feet. And definitely potential warnings. Now, the further out you go, of course, in the forecast, the harder it is to predict. Are going into a quiet period after that, as you can see right there, the last 5 days. But this phase, man, active as it gets. So a 1, 2, 3 of warning level swells. The first two of which are just amazing. All right, so we are looking at surface winds. Surface winds build up swell heights in the open ocean. Take a look. There's the beast. Look how close it is. The nosing to within about 600 miles of us. Swells in the open ocean lose about half their swell height every 1,000 miles. This one was about 1,000, centered about 1,000 miles away with some of its highest season winds. So that's why we're going to be looking at a giant category. I mean, Jaws could reach 30 tonight. That's the issue. It is peaking at night, and there is a front moving down the island chain thanks to the big low. So that front is bringing in some northerly winds with it here and some lousy weather. Let's roll those loops. There comes the second one with a beautiful captured fetch and then ending up in the Gulf just like the one prior. The second one might be a pinch smaller, and that one is going to do the same thing. It's going to peak Thursday night. Be building all day Thursday to above warning levels and pretty much do the same thing, but it might be, I don't know. The first swell was about 16 feet, 16 seconds. This one's going to, Wave Watch is predicting 14 feet of 15 seconds. So that's still plenty big, 20 feet at least from the second one. And then we get the storm off the Kuril Islands with a decent track, but it has a short shelf life for the second one. But right now they're still claiming, probably running hot, but still claiming some, 9 feet, 16 seconds, Monday the 14th. Maybe downgrade that to about a 10-foot swell. We could probably count on that. We'll wait and see. Then take a look at what happens. We just go completely quiet. Look at all the blues. It's like it's a whole different scenario here. So we're going to go into an inactive phase here for a little bit through the middle of the month. And so get this while you can if you like waves this size. Let's take a quick look down under. You can see little Tasman sea sources, which is what we've been seeing. So distant, so small for this time of year. But what's happening is we're getting half a foot to 1 foot of swell reaching us at 12 to 14 seconds. And that's what we see today. So town, if you got to get out there and ride something, it's not mill pond flat, but it is only knee to thigh high, less than 2 feet for town, thanks to systems like this. And I'll just roll with it and show you that that didn't even have a proper track. It's moving zonal, and it's mostly just empty of any blobs, red blobs that we like to see. So take a look. Yep, 'tis the season. Wanted to show you the quick scat. These are actual wind measurements of the first swell that we're seeing, and take a look at that, man. Those are some pretty serious winds, man. 45 to 55, little patches of 35. That's pointed pretty much at us and will eventually pass off to the east. But there are the actual winds in that beast from the models I was just showing at you. They're pretty much in alignment. And here's a pulled back view of those winds that are right here. Again, it is tracking east, but it's close enough. Look how close that is to us. Those are some wild winds here, 1,000 miles off, and some of the winds nosing to 600 miles from us from that fetch. Going out in the super long haul, Wednesday the 16th, we do see a system that forms near the date line. It's super close to us, and it's a decent size, low pressure. And here we are right down here about 20 north. And we will be seeing some pretty good-sized surf from that, probably around the 18th, I would project right now, but that's a long way out. Okay, the hand-drawn surface charts. There's the big low for the big waves. Take a look at those isobars. Look at the length of that fetch. And here comes the high pressure. There is the front moving down the smaller islands, reaching the big island tonight. This ridge from this high pressure over here is being pushed down by that giant low. Can't compete. So whenever you see a ridge moving over the islands like that, it just cuts the trades. Now, we're seeing northerly winds due to the front, but after that, the winds are going to be out of here for a while. So we're going to be into a variable wind pattern starting sometime. Probably more like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we'll be into it. But here's the scenario. The high pressure is, again, super close to us, and those ridges from the second high will be fairly near to us as well. Here comes that second low for that second swell Thursday and Friday, bringing us up way above warning levels. These are the kind of pictures we like to see. Those misto reefs will be going off along the windward side, and we'll have light enough wind so it won't be chopped out. Okay, the jet stream, you can see how it's big, fat, consolidated, dipping down. That's, these large upper air currents, about 30,000 feet up, they aid in the formation of these low pressures. And the more troughing there is within it, the deeper that they are, the more consolidated, and the winds are up to like from 140 to 190 in this jet. And once the storms are formed, they help guide the path of these storms, and that's why they are getting so close to us, because look at this thing dipping right down on us. Now, it does weaken. See how the winds weaken, and it shortens up. It's not as consolidated. Then it starts coming back off Japan here towards the end of the week and allowing a continuation to swell, but a relatively quiet period. Here comes a break again off of Japan here over the weekend, and again, that's why things are going to be quieting down. It's just completely opposite to the pattern we've been seeing. We've been having an active MJO phase, and I have it on the big picture. You can read below what that's all about. Now here's a picture of that front coming down and the northerly flow to the clouds and thus the winds. After this, we go into, again, lighter winds. Tomorrow, we're expecting lighter northeasterly winds than today. It's going to be pretty wild as far as the winds and weather and waves here today and through tonight. And tomorrow, we're going to have the winds behaving a little bit better. Right now, the North Shore is just crap at 10, 12 feet. At this point, midday on Monday the 7th, it's going to get way bigger. The upper level regions are showing they're not very stable as well. Down here is the intertropical convergence zone where the trade winds from the North Pack meet the trades from the West Pack. And you see thunderstorms down there. This is all going to stay put. This stays put right here. But there's that big front from the spinner right there. You can see it drilling down a little bit more. I'll tell you, highs are going to be about 80, 82, lows in the upper 60s. And, God, spots like Wahiawa, we're going to get even cooler here. Again, all thanks to this front. And yeah, here's that rain band coming down. It will, it's not going to last a long time. So we're just going to expect some rain showers to come down the island chain. Things will start to improve tomorrow and by Wednesday. When the surf becomes a little bit more manageable, the winds die out. Winds on Wednesday, the waves should be about dropping rather quickly, but still be 12 feet on Wednesday. And that's the local swell tracker. I'll check you back here next week. Thank you for checking in. Aloha.